Welcome to the Confidence Mastery podcast. I am your host, Natalie Bailey. Today we have an incredible guest joining us. His name is Petar Krastev, and we are going to have an incredible conversation. Welcome to the podcast, Petar.
Hi, Natalie. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the listeners, and I'm pleased to be here. Really happy, excited for this.
I'm really pleased you're excited because I am. I'm always excited when it comes to the podcast, but you have an amazing story to share, but also some other things that I know the listeners are going to love about connecting and communicating with people and really cultivating a community. And that's something that we're very big on with the Confidence Mastery podcast. Could you just give the listeners a little introduction into yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you help?
Well, without being too boring with this, I'm coming from Bulgaria, and I'm sort of an immigrant, right? I came here to the UK with 10 euros in my pocket, like on 2014 in September, and I'm a guy who wanted to be successful, was prepared to do anything, and right now I'm doing my passion, which is fitness coaching. My passion was sports, really, so I got into training, but then I realized this is my part of, I should take the part of coaching. So now I'm coaching men, and I'm known as Coach PK, and I founded a couple communities, um, my company, and yeah, now this is really me in the essence. I do have this story that makes people follow me and want to be with me, which is what I'm looking forward to sharing now, because I want to genuinely connect with more people out there.
I love that. Like I said, community is very important to us, and having proper connections with people makes the world a better place, doesn't it?
100%. It made the world a place where I can live. For me, it meant everything.
Yeah. Why fitness for you?
Honestly, because first of all, from a very young age, I was inspired to be really successful, but I don't come from a place where I had any good example, and I was ready to do anything for money, and I was doing anything for money up to the age of about 27, where after a lot of things that you might have read online for me, I realized I failed again. I failed again, and I failed in another business. I split up from another partnership, lost another girlfriend. It was getting late for me. I wanted to be successful a few years ago, and I was already at 27. And I stopped. I decided to step back and actually look what's going on with me. Why am I making the wrong decisions? Why am I always failing? I was supposed to be already successful, and I realized that a lot of the successful people out there claim to do something they love, and
Mhm.
that's what really sparked it. I said, okay, I will try to do what everybody else, not everybody, but actually the ones who are really truly successful and still are successful. I will try to do it as them, and they all said, we love what we do. So I looked into my life. What is one thing that I love? And there was absolutely nothing. Not
There was
the
nothing.
training. No, not even the training, to be honest. I used to, my life was miserable, but at the same time I looked into it and I said, okay, if it's nothing that I love, what actually love is. And I thought, if I do something that I love, that something has to give me back always. And what was the one thing that always gives me back in life? It was training. It was
Mhm.
training. I thought training can be the only thing that I can potentially love. Always pays back. It sucks when you do it. That's how I used to think, not now. Um, and I said, okay, I will dedicate my whole life to doing this. And because of the second thing that I realized is those people who are successful, they absolutely never quit.
Mhm.
Something that I was very good at. I was quitting. So I said, I will stop this and I will find something to commit it, and it will be something that I can love. So training, had no clue how to make any money of it. I was not good at training either. I was in a pretty bad shape, in fact. But I decided I will go through whatever it takes, and this will be my story, which will connect with people. And here we are a few years later. Now I'm at 31, soon to be 32. On the way to achieve my biggest dreams, which is kind of crazy. These two small decisions,
Yeah.
so impactful.
How does that feel to you now compared to when you looked first into what do I love and there was nothing?
How does it feel? I don't even remember, to
Mhm.
be honest. If I have to really picture it again, I was so lost. I was so lost. Had absolutely nothing. In fact, there were so many things that changed in my life. It changed 180 degrees on multiple times. Like I became a different person in many aspects. Nothing from me before is here today. Part of the reason, half the reason is because to grow and to be successful in that journey, when you commit to something, regardless what it is it sport, is it a business, if you commit to it and decide to be the greatest ever, you will discover that it's not the things that happen to you that make the difference, but you are the
Mhm.
difference. And you have to change. And that change for me was intense because I was pushing boundaries and I'm still doing it. That's the way I live every day, pushing boundaries and changing myself on daily basis. And the other half is that I was saved by a force, which I found to be God, because that's how it happened. Um, I don't want to turn this into religious podcast, but trust me when I say, when I prayed to Jesus, it saved my life, and now it made me who I am. So other half is definitely God, but I'm not the same guy, and it's very hard to picture. I'm now really pushing myself to draw these memories and to tell you where I was, because I walk on the streets every day and I see most people are still living there, and I'm shocked.
Mhm.
How how can I reach them? It's not easy.
So you want to give back and help the people in a situation that you were in a similar situation to what you were in.
Yeah, what else it is to do with life otherwise?
Mm.
As I'm a servant of God, and I've always been a good person, and also in a very basic reason, if you want to be successful, if you want to have money and freedom, you have to serve people, and you have to serve them with something. And if you ask anyone, if you ask yourself, what am I going to serve them with? And well, what you're good at. And I compare myself with the other people. Well, I have this story that is shocking, and I put myself through it. I went through it, so
Mm.
I guess I'm gonna use it for something and be that unique person who is helping in that unique way. You know, that's
Yeah.
what makes me me. So helping people is just, there's no other option. I think that's the way to live.
You feel like that's your purpose.
100%. Yeah.
Brilliant. So you said that your life was miserable. What was life like then? And we'll touch on how it's improved since a bit later.
Well, when my life was really miserable was after I grew up a little bit. Because when I was a kid, it wasn't a bright kid. I was one of those kids who were always bullied. I got into training because I wanted to be more respected, and then I got into drugs. This kind of street life, which I see a lot of guys still living there, and they get born into it. They have no other choice but to escape in the way I did, or just stay in there, and they grow up the
Yeah.
same way. But then I made some decisions, because I think it was about at age of 18 or 19, on my birthday. My father gave me a book that he blamed himself for giving me for like years. Even until now, I'm not sure if he's overcome this. That was a Rich Dad Poor Dad, the book. And in
Uh-huh.
fact, my father did not read that book. A friend of his read the book and told him, "Look, I know your son wants to do business. He should start with that book." My father, without reading the book, giving
Gave
me
it to
that
you.
book. And he's not a businessman. He's the opposite. He's that guy that's working all his life and believes success is meant only for those who either have it or do bad things. Um, so I'm reading that book, and that book is teaching me that I have to make mistakes from a very early age, and I have to start making mistakes. And I was like, I'm on it. Let's go. So mistakes it was, mistakes after mistakes, big ones. And at the age of 22, I out of cockiness, I decided to go with the girl. That relationship actually changed my life. Nothing special with her, but situation that this put me through was amazing. So that girl walking on the streets, and I was betting with my friends, I'm gonna have this girl for my girlfriend, and I actually made it in 2 days. And out
2
of
days.
pride, yes, and out of pride, and I didn't want this relationship to go. Kind of kept stick to it, and I kind of enjoyed with the girl at first. But in a weekend, she told me I actually have a kid, and I didn't know that. I was a little, now looking at myself, trying to describe myself, I would say arrogant, little, stupid boy that has no clue anything about life. And suddenly I'm presented with the opportunity to become a father in
Uh-huh.
a country where you can barely pay your bills. And I I accepted it. I was like, yeah, well, I can do anything. I'm a big guy now. It's, confidence. So that decision actually was hell because I had to look after this girl, which nobody could have. And I actually had to sacrifice everything so the girl doesn't pay the price for my mistakes and for my laziness and for my lack of discipline, my inability to provide for the house. And that girl wasn't a good deal as well. She was really negative and put me into very toxic relationship. So we were having a really horrible, miserable relationship, but I couldn't leave it because I gave a promise to not leave without providing some security for the girl, because the situation was such that if I leave them, they will get separated. So mother and a daughter for a second time, which will be devastating. And I watched what happened the first time. So it's kind of a mess. And I decided to be the guy that fixes everything. But I had no clue what would that actually cost me. Maybe if I knew, maybe I wouldn't have taken this decision on the
Mm-hmm.
first time place.
Mm-hmm.
So it went it was so bad. We couldn't pay any bills. I was making half the money that we need for the bills. We were switching places to live at without paying the rent. I was working night jobs, day jobs at strip clubs. Just before I leave the country, I became a trainer, dolphin trainer, believe it or not, swimming
No
with
way.
dolphins just for a month. And I was sacked. And a lot of bad things happening there intensely, which made me leave the country. She also had a problem with her teeth, which kind of a disease which can lead to her losing her teeth in a few years' time. And I was like, I'm so fucked. I literally, I lost all my friends for 1 year. I lost a relationship with my parents even because they didn't want to go through this. I lost a relationship with my brother because I stole money from him. I did so many bad things, to be honest. And on top of that, I had to look after these kids, and my girlfriend was going to lose her teeth. And I was like, oh, what a life.
Mm.
What did I do? And I put myself through this. So I said, okay, I'll keep pushing. And I was searching for a job out in abroad, and a guy offered me to work in a car wash in the UK. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. I didn't have the money anyway. Started making the plans. My mother somehow found 500 euros, which she gave me, and I bought a ticket. The rest I gave to my girlfriend so they can pay the bills, and I got 10 euros in my pocket, and I left the country trying to
Wow.
to make the money enough for her to heal her dental teeth and the problems to support them in that time. And I was thinking, in worst case scenario, we'll get to a point where they will be fine, and I can leave them, or we can separate, or we'll somehow fix our relationship by
Mm.
some. I landed into the UK with 10 euros, and that's when really it kicked in. After a month, I found myself living on the streets after changing already 2 jobs.
Wow.
Like homeless at some point. Then I think there was a woman who saved me from the streets and gave me a place to live for about 3 weeks, and then I had to I had to find a place to live because I couldn't pay the rent there. And I was searching for cheap places, for offices and garages where I can actually stay. And I found a garage, the only place that I could pay. It cost me, I think, 78 pounds. That's in 2014, right at the end. 78 pounds for a lock-up garage outdoors, where I was thinking I will be just with the roof there, no electricity, no water whatsoever. And I just found a new job in Subway. And long story very short, I ended up living in this garage, which was flooded at the first night, for a year and a half. Living in there without going back, away from family, away from friends, in a foreign country where I see only bricks and you know uh,
Yeah.
roads and buildings with none of the beauty that I'm used to. No, nothing, absolutely nothing, and no money. I was eating donuts every day because they're cheap, like 60p the donuts. It was hell, and I put myself through this. I had periods where I was crying every day. I was literally crying every day. I did not know how to go through every single day. I was going to work, working two places. At some point, I started working at Amazon as a driver, and you, I can't even describe the loneliness and the pain I was feeling then. It's now remembering, it's wow,
Yeah.
who can go through this? And I was going through it every single day because I could not leave because of the girl, because that her little daughter, she was 2 years old. This would have been devastating. So it took me a few good years, with a few going back to Bulgaria, to actually get myself promoted, to save money, to get some loans from the banks. And her teeth, we got them fixed. Something that was planned to cost about 1,000 cost 20,000. Then it was insane. And we also bought a car, and I remember the day where I was thinking, okay, I actually made it. I went through all that shit. I did it. Few years took me of my life. I went through a period where even one day wasn't unbearable for me, and I did it because there was a bigger reason for me. There was something external, and really pushed beyond all my boundaries. Everything that I believed to be humanly possible to be done, I did it, and I actually achieved it. I found the money to help her and to eventually start a new life. Nobody ever done this, and I remember buying a car at the end with a little bit of the money from a bank loan. And I was thinking, we're gonna have a car now. I'm gonna go, we can relax and go together at places, and I'll continue just building up from here. The day I buy the car, I'm opening my Facebook and I'm seeing her posting a photo with another guy, and it was a shocker. That was
Wow.
as shocked as you can get. And you know what? I Instead of crying
How did
about
that
it,
make you feel?
I got really angry at the beginning, but then you know what? The sense of freedom that like you've never seen before.
Right.
A sense of freedom. All these years I was actually trying to end this in good or bad way. Sense of freedom was unreal. And you know what? I realized that I picked up some insane skills. What I was able to go through, I was going to go through the same thing, but for myself. And I
Yeah.
did not have only 2, 3 years ahead. I had my whole life. In that time, I knew I'm up for something big.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it so big that it's gonna change everything, everything. And yeah, so this is what the answer to your question, what it looked like to be a little bit miserable. And it
A
is,
little bit.
yeah.
Geez, that's a lot to go through. That obviously built a lot of resilience up for you. You know, you took on the responsibility of this woman and her daughter, and that sense of isolation that you must have felt, like being, like you said, about being alone and loneliness. And that's one of the things we talk about quite a lot on this podcast and like in the entrepreneurial space as well. I think it's a very different place when you're literally living in the garage and you're just working and you know you feel your responsibilities elsewhere. Do you ever feel like that now, or have things moved on and you've got some good connections and relationships with people?
As soon as I found God to answer your question, everything was forgiven and everything, all the pain disappeared in a month. So that this partly why I know what I'm talking about when I believe in what I know about God, because as soon as I was saved, all these regrets and pain was gone, and now it's a little bit hard actually for me to speak about these stories. I think I've shared with you, before we start the podcast, the first time I actually shared partly of my story, barely. I was in Clubhouse in front of an audience with a few hundred people, and it was like the topic was to share our stories, and I end up barely speaking, crying and fuffling and sharing some stuff. Um, it was extremely hard, and then I repeated it and repeated it, and I found this to be such a healing process. Sharing your stories, your
Yeah.
struggles, it makes no sense. It's so hard to do, but when I did it, and I did it in front of audience, changed my whole life. And the pain progressively disappeared.
Yeah.
So now, as I speak, I almost don't feel it, but I know it's there.
But it's there. That it's inside you. It's a part of you. But yeah, I like that. The fact that it's a healing process, and I think that's a good point for the listeners to take on board. Is if you have these things, we all have moments in our life that are shit. Um, there's periods of miserableness and isolation and all sorts of things that go on. But if you've got to bottle it up and keep it within you, you're never going to process like any trauma or deal with the healing and let that, guide you to be in a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a psychologist, but I know the impact of sharing it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have clients who go through their own struggles right now, and I feel really for them because I know their pain more than they realize. And what I do is just sometimes listen and ask them to share, and I see the way that it helps them, and they don't even realize what's happening, but I know they're actually
Yeah.
recovering.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an amazing process to watch as well, isn't it? What
Yeah.
gave you the confidence to share your story in the beginning?
Wow. I think I was just put into it. They said share your story, and then there was a lot of these guys after that, immediately after that, who were talking about sharing your story is important for your brand and building yourself up. I don't think they realized what I was actually what that actually meant for me. I think the people who founded these rooms about sharing stories, they actually wanted to attract clients as their people who they will teach how to share their stories and make business. They did not get me, but they made me share my story. I did not even I expected none of it, and then I shared it. I probably couldn't sleep well all the night. I was excited. My adrenaline was through the roof. It felt life changing. I couldn't believe what I just did. I I had a lot of big imposter syndrome. I
Yeah.
couldn't speak before that. It was not possible. What about audience? Yeah, shocking. It just happened. It just happened. Then I realized what happens, because after actually I shared my first story the first time, there was about 100 people that suddenly followed me, and all of them were big names and people who actually made it somehow and had some influence and position. And some suddenly, from a guy who can't even speak, is kind of new to the industry, and suddenly I was followed by all these guys, and they were supporting me. They were talking about me, and I was like, okay, yeah. And I felt good at the same time. I felt relieved. I shared something, and people were impacted, and they started following me, and
Mm.
they wanted to follow me, and that turned into the coaching that it is today.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they see something. They see something. So I hope people see now as well.
I believe they will, and obviously to everybody listening, you can't see Peter's face, but like it's written all over your face that you care about sharing your story from a place of wanting to help people through their struggles and like their life and improving what it is that they want to do with life. Like I can just see it, and what you're saying. So tell us a bit more about how you help men with their lives.
Well, that came about just out of me trying to provide a service which really serves. So one thing I learned quite early about business is that nobody gets paid unless you provide service or you sell something that people need and they want. And as a good somebody with a good heart and conscientious person, I wanted to give something that actually works.
Yeah.
And I did not even know that is called coaching at the beginning. I was simply going into the personal training industry. I couldn't make a difference between mentoring, coaching, personal training. But I asked myself, is that personal training at the gym, just giving a session, going to solve the problem of people who I seemed as potential clients, like people who are overweight and had a lot of problems in their life or going through struggles, which I was going through as well. And the answer was no. There's no chance a personal trainer he can't even connect with the client. It's very hard. I was thinking I need to be more than a personal trainer. I need to be somebody that actually cares for these people, that talks to them because there is a lot of mindset. Then I need to teach them nutrition. I had to create a service that solves the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It literally. And I created that service. I drafted it with pen and paper, helping with the mindset, helping with the nutrition, helping with accountability, everything with training, physical training. Uh, and that became coaching. Yeah, I realized, okay, that actually exists there, and people call it coaching. So yeah, I'm a coach now officially, and that's what I do because that's what we have to do. And this is what I do. I build up this online model because it's at first I was going to people's houses because again I wanted to deliver a service that's outstanding, so they have no
Yeah.
excuse but to achieve the results. Then I realized I can do it online. There's more time for me. It is the same result for them, and it's also scalable. It's good for the business. It's good for them. I can reach more people. It's kind of a win-win in many ways.
Yeah.
And it turned into this online coaching. Very very authentic way to get here. If I have to be honest,
Yeah.
did not just do it for the sake of money.
I love that. I have an online PT, and it doesn't matter. You know, we've never met in person. We've never even had a conversation on the phone, but we still have a really good connection. And I know that I could tell him anything, and I have done, like whatever's going on in my life, because what you said about it's not just fitness, it's the mindset, it's the nutrition, it's other things that go into it. I think that's a really important point to touch upon when it comes to, you know, that connection and making sure that you're giving the people what they need, as opposed to this, you know, bog standard cookie cutter approach. You do that, and then there's no real want and desire from the person on the other end of the phone or the call or whatever, in
Mm.
order for them to achieve more. If they feel that they can open up to you and they've got confidence in you, that's going to help them achieve more, and that's going to make you feel better about the service you're providing.
Yeah, 100%. And connection can be really real. People who have experienced that, they know online we can build really good connections with people that we work. A lot of clients that come to me who had experience with coaches before, they are aware and they are actually searching for somebody they can connect with. And on the other hand, a lot of people coming, they've never worked with anybody, especially online. They feel really insecure. Are they making the right decision? Are they not? Um, and then soon enough they're like becoming best friends with me. Some guys joke that they see me more often than their wives.
Otherwise, they know
Yeah,
everything. You know,
yeah. The connection is real. Yeah, it's online, but it's real,
yeah.
which is really nice.
I think that's beautiful. And as human beings, we need more connection with other humans. But first, and you'll know this yourself, you know, having that connection with yourself then allows you to connect better with other people. So you had to build up your mindset to go from where you were at, from what was your rock bottom of, you know, having nothing, but you were resilient. You built this thing up and you had a bigger purpose and a bigger drive. What was what were you thinking? Where was your brain at to go, I must do this, not just to provide for this lady and her daughter, but more for yourself that you then help other people with?
Well, that's tough one because the reason I went through all of this and I managed to change myself and overcome myself, it's because the actual drivers were bigger than me.
Yeah.
So the times now go a little deep. It might be triggering for some people, but there was multiple nights where I lay in bed and I'm thinking, why am I keeping this life? No, what's the point of living? And at that time, I did not want to hurt my mother.
Hmm.
I was thinking what it would be if I'm dead tomorrow and she hears the news. Shocking, devastating news. So I really couldn't do that for her. I had to do it for them because they went through hell. Her health was worsened because of me, because of the actions I took. They give everything they can in their life to help me have something. It might not be much, but knowing where they come from and the life we had, it was a lot. So I had to do it for them a lot. I had to really do it for them.
Hmm.
And then
I
yeah,
can relate to that.
for myself as well, I guess. Uh, I I went through hell and I lost all relationships and I had more haters and more people who don't believe in me than like anyone I knew. I mean, there was nobody who believes in me. There was only one guy who left, and he's now my best friend, and he's the only survivor. It's like everybody left me and told me I can't be anything, I can't be shit, and that also kept me going for a long time. You know, I was angry, and it allowed me to go through it. So there was these big drivers, and then I was also looking at other things like why was I put to go through this life? Why where I grew up things were so bad, and the reason was because there was so much mafia and so much bad influence in my country and in the place where I grew up, and we were placed, we were born in this hell and in this shithole, and the responsibles are still there and having a good life. So I was angry at them, and I to be honest, still am, and I'm going for them. I want to go back there one day and make a change, a
Mm.
real change. So these drivers, they're all bigger than me, and I think it's so important that we have things that are bigger than us if we want to change ourselves and to keep pushing and be resilient. This is where my resilience comes from. And when it comes to coaching, that's very helpful because I have to teach men that they should not be doing it for the way they look in the mirror, and they should not be doing it for the girlfriends or just or for the money. They need to find a bigger purpose, even if they don't feel like it. They can train their mind to like it. You know, we can train our mind, and I will help them do that. You know, to do it for their kids, for their grandkids, maybe to teach them, to be with them, or to be able to maybe even enjoy life up to later age is still kind of a big reason. But yeah, it's very important that we have bigger reasons than us. I myself am not big enough reason to go through the hell that I went through. And I'm sure a lot of people are still in the same place. They don't realize it.
Hmm.
When I was in the first place, it wasn't enough. The pain is too much that you have to go through. Discomfort is insane, and it's on daily basis. There's no end to it as well. So we need to have something bigger to live for, and to do it for it. And
Yeah.
that's where you find the purpose actually, which is it's insane. Yeah.
It is. And when you realize that life isn't all about you and there is a bigger purpose and a bigger picture, I think things start to come together. What would you say to people that are struggling to find their purpose? How would you advise they find that for themselves like you did?
Well, um, I wish I can give an answer that can fit everybody, but I understand fully aware of the fact that everybody is in a different place in life, and different answer will be needed. but there are two very important elements to find your purpose. And for everybody who has a purpose, he knows these elements are there. One of them is serving people or something. It might be nature, it might be the world, it might be the planet, but you have to be serving. There's no purpose without serving. And serving comes through self. You have to be the person who serves. So if you have to be serving and you have to be serving great and be good at your purpose, you have to grow and you have to become good at. And then the question is, what will be the field you excel at, because we have such a big choice in this world. And then I would say, to feel like your purpose is actually your passion, just go with the thing that you love. And if you don't love anything, find something the way I did it. That's what I can say. What actually brings you rewards every time you do it, what brings you joy, even if it's tough, even if it's hard. And get on with it. Dedicate your life to it. Find a way to serve people with it, and become obsessed at becoming great at it. And before you know it, you will have a great purpose on your plate, and it's only gonna keep growing. The more people we can reach, the more impact you can do to the world, the bigger the purpose will become. And yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it from my experience.
Yeah, and it has a more profound impact and a bigger impact on the world when you know that for yourself. You know, you have confidence to put yourself out there, because then that helps other people, and then like the butterfly effect kicks in, and like that ripple effect, rather than the butterfly effect. Got the wrong one there. You know, like that the dominoes falling. It's if I help you and you help somebody else, they help somebody else, and it helps make the world a better place.
Yeah, and that actually the driver to get there is our sense of for responsibility, because a lot of most of the people, they don't feel confident about talking, helping people, speaking, but they have to do it in some shape or form. If they want to help people, you have to connect and you have to put yourself out there. And because of that sense of responsibility to serve, you will be able to find the strength to put yourself out there. The same way I did. I did not want to show my face out there. Did not want to speak. The first time I spoke on a little in front of a little group of people, it was a long time ago. It was for like I don't want to go to what it was about, but it was a small group of people, maybe 10. And I had to share a few sentences, a little story, or why am I there or something. My legs were barely holding. My legs were shaking. I did not know how I'm actually standing. It felt like jelly. My voice was on waves. I was like barely holding myself together. So yes, I am that type of guy who's never been good at anything, absolutely anything. But sense of responsibility is what makes you good and allows you to find a purpose and keep growing.
It's incredible, isn't it? You touched earlier on discipline, and that's something I'm very keen on, given that I'm a bit of a I'm a bit of a wild child, and I used to think that freedom was doing whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted it, whenever you wanted to do it. But I've actually realised, especially like in the past few years, that discipline is actually what gives you freedom. What does discipline mean for you, and how do you stay disciplined with your life?
Again, you need to know why you're doing it. So it's very good that we took the conversation in that order, because all the parts that we talked about, they're essential for you to be able to build a pure discipline. And then discipline is just as a muscle, isn't it? Telling yourself you're gonna do something and doing it, as simple as that. And in fact, I did not know what discipline is up to a very late age. Nobody told me when I was young. So it's good that we talk about it. I was thinking discipline is doing what the teachers tell me, doing what
Uh-huh.
my father tells me, what you've been taught and being a good kid. I thought that's discipline. And then I realized there's two types of discipline. Maybe we should actually have different words for them, but we call it now self-discipline. But
Yeah.
really, it is, to me, this is discipline, being able to say to yourself, I'm going to do something and doing it. And the more you don't do it, the worse your discipline gets. The more you do what you do, the better your discipline gets. And the good thing is connect kind of spreads out as a wildfire. As you become good at something, you're going to be automatically better at some other things as well. So just learn to do what you say you're gonna do, and you build up a discipline. It's simple. It's really simple.
It is very simple. It's not always easy though, is it?
No, no, it's not easy. And if you don't have the reasons, then you wouldn't do it
Mm,
as part of the journey. It sucks, but you need to know why. When you wake up in the morning, you need to know why you're doing this. And it's gotta be bigger than you. It's
yeah.
gotta be, especially for those people out there who have left it for too late and having problems, either financial or health problems, when things are really looking dark.
Mm,
You gotta find a bigger reason than yourself then, because nothing is gonna pull you out of there but
yeah.
you.
Yeah. Like no one's coming to save you. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
I
And
think you're a
that's tough.
very you're a very good demonstration of that and coming back from everything that you've been through and then being able to help people in the way that you do and them to have the discipline in their life. You do a very different kind of training to me. I love the kind of training that you teach and that you do. I'm very much a go to the gym and lift things as heavy as I can and put them back down again. Talk to us about now. I always say this wrong. Calisthenics. Body,
Calisthenics.
yeah, that right. I can't say it, so maybe we're gonna leave that in. I really don't care. Um, but it's a really really powerful way of training your body and your mind, and there's so many amazing things you can do. Why did you choose this type of training over any other?
That that stems back right from the time when I decided to join personal physical training and dedicate my life to it. I actually decided to dedicate it to a specific style of training, and that was calisthenics. And it was purely because I was thinking some things that are actually not true. So please, your listeners, be aware what I'm going to say now. It's not actually true. But I was thinking that calisthenics guys look the best, and they just always have these jacked bodies because they do calisthenics. Which, as I'm saying now, it's not the case. It's just a requirement for them to achieve these skills, for them to have these bodies. Otherwise, they won't be able to do these skills. So the bodies do not get achieved by doing the sport. They get achieved by having a good diet, being consistent. And if you want to do this sport, then you have to actually shape up your body nicely so you can actually lift it and move it and be
Hmm.
tight and all that. And then it really expanded. I started loving it. I realized there's quite a lot of benefits. And when thanks to some of friends, online friends of mine, which I feel like I've known closely. One of them is Christopher Rodosakis. I don't even know all his qualifications, to be honest, but he's one of the guys who is leading researchers of human fascia, and a lot of body parts, and kind of been studying them for decades now. And he was part of my community of health and fitness experts. And people like him were coming in my rooms when we were discussing topics about fitness. And they were sharing how body weight training can actually help you heal or reverse arthritis stage
Hmm.
1 or 2, how it's very healthy for your joints, for your cartilage, for the bones, and all these benefits. And I realized, yeah, I probably picked the right thing because it's so beneficial for the human body, for longevity, and it's thick, and it's so many things about it. It's just fun. It's always challenging, and especially for me, a guy who is used to being challenged and don't feel comfortable if I'm not challenged. I feel like I'm disintegrating, like I'm dying if I'm not challenged. And calisthenics is challenging me every single day I go to the gym. When I mix it, I don't do just calisthenics. I learned that using weights are actually super beneficial as well. And if you find that golden balance between both of them, you can become an absolute beast. So I kind of got obsessed with that. And I love it. I love it. It's always humbling when you go at the gym and you can learn some new skills, and or you're trying to, and it takes you years.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why I do it, really, because I just love it. And that was the thing that brought me to fitness in the first place. So I don't want to give it up.
I'm not surprised if you can do the human body is incredible. Like we can do some amazing things if you push and challenge and keep trying.
Yeah, 100%. It's amazing. Most people don't realize what their bodies can do. I'm barely touching. I feel like a little bit of the awareness what I'm actually capable of at this stage after a few years of training. But
Yeah.
wow, if I started at early age, for the guys listening out there, wow.
I always think this as well.
Wow.
Imagine if I started earlier.
Oh my God.
But if you think about it, it doesn't matter when you start. It matters that you have started and that you continue to keep going.
Yes, and really, when you have started and you have and you're on that journey, I believe the feeling is exactly the same as you if you have started like many years ago. You're already on the right track. We have to learn to enjoy the journey, and having started is definitely the right journey, and it's gonna make you feel good about yourself, and knowing that you're doing the right thing. So if you haven't started yet, just start it, and in no time you will be loving it.
Yeah. Did you ever think back when you had 10 euros in your pocket and no idea that you would be sat having conversations like this with people?
No, had no clue.
No.
Just
How does
no.
it make you feel now to be able to do this?
To speak. It I don't know. It's humbling. It's humbling because I'm not good at it. I have to do it. I have to do it because it's the right way. People need to listen. They need to hear, and I know they want to. For those who actually proactively now out there and seeking for the right information, I actually feel responsible to come out and share these things because we're surrounded by influencers, and the influencers are probably the worst thing that's ever happened in the world because they're the cause of so many health problems and yeah, health problems
Yeah.
and all the consequences of the health problems.
There was
Influencers, by the way, just to say, because I know people will be listening, they often don't know what influencers are, and what's the difference between them and other people. So everybody can be an influencer, and no, not every influencer is bad, but the influencers I talk about are the people who actually build up this crazy following by doing funny things or looking insanely online and promoting products and diets and services that did not help them get there on the first place. People who boost themselves with steroids, with testosterone, human growth hormone, and stuff like that. And then they pretend they had this naturally,
Yeah.
and showing people what they can do. And then all the other people who just getting into the field, they look at their photos and their videos, and they're thinking, wow, how he's got this body, how he's so good, wow, how has he got this girlfriend and these cars, and what a life is he having, and I'm so behind.
Yeah.
That's depressing. This is horrible. And the bad thing about it is most of these people will never teach you how to actually get there. A lot of them, they're not even there. It's all fake.
Yeah.
or they've got there in a very wrong way, which you don't want to go.
No.
And yeah, so this is what influencers and influencing as a profession is. That's not to say that being an influencer is always a bad thing. There are some out there who are genuine, and everybody is an influencer. Even if you're an expert and a good coach, eventually when you become famous, just because you're speaking, you're influencing people in practice, you're influencer as well. But
You're
I hope
absolutely right.
we got the point to clear this off. What
Yeah.
I received the feedback of. Yeah.
I recently saw something online. The the top the top profession, the children, I believe it, don't quote me on this, I believe it was China. The top thing was scientist or astronaut, one of those, something very academic, and then in the US it was influencer. And I just,
US is the worst, isn't it?
yeah, and you just think, if that's the kind of lifestyle that's being demonstrated, but as you just said, a lot of it's false, a lot of it's fake. It's like come from, like, these people aren't natural, and it's photoshopped and edited, and it's all about making money. But what I like about what you do and your story is the way you truly connect with people, with your audience, with the people that you work with, in a way that, you know, these influencers with 1 million followers or whatever, however many, they don't connect with their people, and that's the difference. And I like that that's what you're about, and that shows, and that makes a huge difference to everything.
Yeah, we're trying, and we have the responsibility. When I was very young, one of the driving forces in my life was a message that I heard somewhere, somebody. It impacted my whole life. It said, if you know that you can help somebody, that puts you in a position of responsibility. That means you have to help him. And now it's the same, me knowing that I have to share what I have to share because it's the truth, and there's so much out there, so many people who are not going to do that, who are going to even say the opposite. That means I have to stand out and stand up and speak and be heard, because it's
Yeah,
my responsibility. It's
yeah.
simple as that. It's my
And
responsibility.
you're so humble with it. It's amazing. And so what's next for you, taking this responsibility forward with confidence?
I will grow this coaching practice to crazy big levels, and I will do it so I have the actual ability to impact them. I will be putting a lot of work into helping societies in poor countries, and especially in Bulgaria, where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
So these are the big goals I'm looking forward to. Before that, I have to just push this business growth, and we're now starting providing services to companies. So the first speaking gigs are being arranged already. So getting into the corporate world, helping companies, helping their employees to be fitter, to be more productive, teaching them on high performance, and reaching out to more men out there. As you know, I'm working only with men
yeah.
because it comes from the fact that I want the real connection. I want to be genuine. I want to resonate with people that I work with. And if I spread out to too many different types of people, it's just the layer is too thin. It's
Yeah,
not that
yeah, yeah.
impactful. So it's much easier for me to connect on a deep level with men and actually change their lives than speaking to women at the same time and thinking about women problem. I mean, coaching
And
one
you're
person
a
is enough.
man. Yeah.
I'm what?
You're a man yourself. You can relate and connect on a different level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It,
What's been
it's
one of
easy.
what's that's really great to hear, and you is absolutely right what you're saying. We all believe and know that we can help everyone, but by helping everyone, we don't help anyone. So
Mhm.
by narrowing that down and going, these are the kinds of people that I'm going to help, and maybe some others will come along the way. I think that's, like you say, the most impactful way of doing it.
Yeah, when it comes to business, it is there is a time and place for everything. I
Mm,
believe when everybody is starting their own professional skill, it's okay to give a try, and it's actually good to try different people. So I have coached women, I have coached different demographics, people in different situations with different goals. And that's important to do, to understand what you're good at and what you know and what you want to do. And then really narrowing down to the desired people you want to work with really helps you grow and develop deeper expertise. Yeah, sorry, my battery was just
No
red.
worries.
It was about to die. But yeah, connecting
No,
with
not
some.
just yet. We're not ready to leave just yet, but very soon. I think that's a really good point. What's been one of the best successes that you've had for helping someone?
For helping someone.
Yeah, one of your guys.
My first client, my second client, my third client, and they keep coming.
Yeah.
Every one of them is massive, massive success because they come to me and they keep talking about it. They say, you absolutely changed my life. People coming with after triple bypass, one of my first clients, after triple bypass, heavy obesity, diabetes level 2.
Wow.
Guy, I started so low with him, and in a few months' time, he absolutely smashed it, everything. His performance increased, his body changed completely. Then he ran some events, Tough Mudder, some stair climbing events, half marathons. He turned
Amazing.
into this guy that is right now training every day, running almost every day, and inspiring other people and people in his community.
Amazing.
This happened with him, then it happened with the second one, and it kept
Amazing.
going. You know, people come with some insane problems. I actually don't feel comfortable sharing their stories
Yeah.
and their names or anything. So if you see often my testimonials online, I do blur their faces and not the type of coach that, you know, exposes all my clients' weaknesses. You know, I actually want to keep them private. It's for them. What people need to see is just the results.
Yeah.
So people come to me with shocking stories and shocking intensities in life. In fact, some of them are much more intense than mine. And I'm like, wow, I've been really blessed, because if it wasn't me going through what I went through in the past, I I couldn't have stand the chance to help these people. I had no chance if I did not go through what I had been through. Um, no chance to actually help really these people to impact their life and to help them go through. For some things, when they're so tough and so hard to go through, in order for somebody to help us, we need this somebody to have been through something similar himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not to kind of take all the credit from the experts and people who study from the books and know things, because they also help a lot, but trust me, sometimes you just need somebody who understands you because he's been there.
Yeah.
And this is the type of clients I'm getting on a regular basis, and it is very, very humbling. And they do it. They're smashing everything, goals, and like, wow.
Amazing. That's testament to you and your skills as a coach as well. It's not easy being a coach. Like people may believe there's so much more to it, and it's a very in-depth process, and you have that connection with your clients, and you're there for them in more ways than one. So where can people follow you, find you? Because we're a fan of online stalking on this podcast, just not in-person stalking.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So to find me, you can go to pk.coach. This is the website. It does not end in com. It's pk.coach.
Cool.
We're modern. And
like
then
it.
if you look into Instagram or LinkedIn, LinkedIn is my preferred place, but a lot of exercises and nutrition advice you can find on Instagram with Peter_online PT. And on LinkedIn, just type my name, Petar Krastev, as it's shown on the podcast. I believe it's gonna come up.
It'll be in the
Coach
show notes.
PK. Yeah, Coach PK. It should come up. Yeah, I'm all over the place. I'm sure they will see me somewhere.
I will point people in the right direction and make sure that they follow you, find you, and you should be incredibly proud of yourself. I'm sure you are. of, you know, not just what you've achieved for yourself, but what you achieve for other people. And that's partly what this podcast is about, you know, helping to inspire and motivate others to have the confidence to make a change and to do something different with their life like you have. So thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your incredible story and successes and being so humble and um, beautiful with it.
Well, Natalie, I appreciate it so much. I'm so grateful for you having me on this podcast, and I'm being humbled again by you, and the way you build this, the way you look. I know as a woman to be strong, to be successful, it can be twice harder, especially if you do it the way you do it. So
Thank
yeah, I appreciate it. Such an honor, and thank you
Oh,
to all the listeners.
yeah, amazing. Thank you so much. And if you could leave the listeners with one tip to increase their confidence, what would it be?
Become obsessed to be your best. It's okay. It's okay to be obsessed. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that. Thank you so much, Peter. It's been amazing. And to all the listeners, make sure you go and follow him, find him, stalk him online, but not in person. And make sure that you have shared, downloaded, subscribed, share this with your friends, families, colleagues, loved ones, and even the people that you don't like, because everybody needs some help. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.